I have no idea what the Steelers are doing. First of all, the Steelers do not give free agent or trade for a player and give a contract of $150 million. Go ask Santonio Holmes, okay? And he's the one who helped you win a Super Bowl. And then they gave up on him in the offseason, let him go to the Jets. He has one good year, and that's it. That's all you hear from Santonio Holmes after that. They do not bring in free agents like this or even trade for guys like this. He wasn't even a free agent. They traded for him. And give him that kind of money. You have a player like George Pickens who's complaining that you're not giving him an extension, and then you go on an outsource, you trade for a guy like DK Metcalf? What the hell are you doing? That's telling me, if I was George Pickens, I'm saying, you know what? I'm not signing with you guys. You want to franchise me? Franchise me next year, and then I'm going to go to free agency and tell you to go F yourself. That's what I would be saying. I am not going to be happy. As much as everybody, and I know Fish, you're going to be looking at it as a coach. Well, with DK Metcalf there, it opens up the field for a guy like George Pickens, and he's going to put up better yards and more touchdowns, and it benefits him. Here's why it doesn't benefit him. Because now, paying this guy $150 million, that tells George Pickens he's not the number one guy. So guess what? He's not getting number one money. So George Pickens automatically goes from $150 million or $140 million to $80 million or $90 million, which tells him his signing bonus, which they expect to be less. So I don't like this move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that tells me that the Pittsburgh Steelers are reaching. And that's why I believe Justin Fields said, screw this team. I'll go to the Jets, and I'll be a starter there, and I don't have to deal with DK Metcalf yelling at me or George Pickens giving me the finger on the sidelines. I mean, seriously, how many things that the Pittsburgh Steelers have done over the years? They bring in a smooth-speaking, big-mouth-talking DK Metcalf, and then you have George Pickens, who doesn't get along with people in the locker room. He doesn't get along with anybody. That doesn't make any sense. But that is very a Pittsburgh Steeler-esque type of move. This is, Mike Tomlin can't control players, and then they decide to part ways with those players, and then you bring in players that they can't control themselves to the coach, which eventually will be traded after a certain amount of time. That's the problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's why they can't get over the hump. That's why in the last 8 seasons, they can't get out of the first round. And one of the main reasons why is they got a tremendous defense, but they make the wrong decisions since Ben Roethlisberger at the quarterback position, and then they make stupid moves like this that make you shake your head. This is not a good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Absolutely struck out on this move. And hopefully it works out for them because I don't hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. But again, Pittsburgh is in a division that you have to contend with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and so on. And I don't bring up the Browns because we all know what Watson is, or whoever starts this year for that organization.
They just brought in Kenny Pickett.
There you go. Their ex-quarterback that was drafted in the first round, an absolute bust. But the Browns bringing Kenny Pickett. Oh, man, what a strikeout. Anyways, I just think that when you look at the position that the Pittsburgh Steelers are in, this doesn't make sense. As far as the Vikings struck out on this one. I think they made a big mistake. Because Sam Darnold showed you, being that he's still young, he's 27, 28 years old, he's going into the prime meat part of his career. Remember, he was the youngest quarterback drafted in NFL history. So he's been in the league for 7 years. He jumped ship a couple of times. He was with the Jets and then Carolina, then the 49ers, then the Vikings. He finally found a spot where he was successful with a great coach, a quarterback coach that I thought really developed him in a year. And then you part ways with him because you trust in McCarthy. McCarthy, you don't even know what he is. Couldn't stay healthy when they drafted him during the preseason. He was out for the season. You're going to trust to ride with this quarterback after what Sam Darnold did for you? I think this is 100% a home run for Seattle. And I'll tell you why. $55 million guaranteed. $100 million. He's underpaid as a starting quarterback in this league. You have him for 3 years. And to me, he's in a very good position Now that you go into the draft, you can draft some wide receivers. You maybe bring in a free agent like Amari Cooper, if that's where you want to go. You want to bring in a veteran guy to play with a guy like Sam Darnold. I think that makes sense. Maybe somebody of that magnitude. Obviously, Tyler Lockett is not there anymore. And they still have Njigba. I think Njigba is a good consolation prize, but I don't know if he's the number one. We'll have to see him this year. I just think that Seattle is in the driving seat, and then to trade Geno Smith for a third-round pick, I think this is a slam dunk. I think Seattle won because Tyler Lockett, it wasn't the answer anymore. DK Metcalf didn't shut the hell up, and Geno Smith wanted a big contract, and they rather pay the younger Sam Darnold than go after a Geno Smith that obviously didn't want to be there anymore. And then you trade him over there to Vegas. Vegas gets their quarterback, which is a slam dunk for Vegas because Pete Carroll is only going to be there 3 years, and he's a veteran coach that wants to win now. Geno Smith absolutely fits where the Raiders want to be right now, and that's borderline playoff team, and they could be in a division that could be wide open next year. Everybody keeps talking about Kansas City. There's a lot of questions with Kansas City. They're going to make the playoffs, obviously, because they have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. But there's no guarantees they win that division next year. I mean, the Broncos look pretty damn good with a quarterback that's starting to develop. And then you have Vegas with Pete Carroll, who is, to me, I wouldn't know what this defense is going to be next year, but understands how to build a good defense. Go ask Seattle. Go ask USC. I mean, he's done very well for himself in the past, wherever Pete Carroll's gone defensively. So, not with the Jets, but that's a whole nother story. But I just think that right now, Seattle wins. I think Vegas wins on the Geno Smith move. I think all these teams win except Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh struck out. I don't get Pittsburgh. I don't. And who's throwing him the ball, by the way? Who's throwing DK Metcalf? And who's throwing to George Pickens this year? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Mm-hmm. Is it him? Who is it? I know. I heard they were going after Sam, but I knew Sam Darnold didn't want to go back to the AFC. I think he was much more happier in the NFC because he has a better chance to win in the NFC, especially in that division where you don't know what the Rams are this year, even though they brought in a guy like Adams. And you don't know what, obviously, Seattle's going to be. I mean, not Seattle. San Francisco's going to be this year. With Brock Purdy probably going to get an extension, and no more Deebo Samuel, and probably trading Brandon Ayuk in the draft. So what are they going to be this year? So I think they're in a good position. Why couldn't they win that division this year with the young team that they have and with Sam Darnold? I absolutely believe this is an absolute home run. And by the way, Minnesota loses on that too. So Minnesota and Pittsburgh are the two teams that lost so far as what I've seen over the last 24 to 48 hours.